Greetings, denizens of the tri-state area. Jacob Weil here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Dragon, I know what we're going to do today. We're going to activate the Recap-inator and discuss my favorite cartoon, Phineas and Ferb. That's right, in honor of the 15th anniversary and in preparation for the upcoming revival. I'm guiding Blue Dragon 5 here throughout the series, experiencing his reactions watching it for the first time and reliving my summer memories throughout the years. Today's episodes are Runaway, Runway, and I Scream, You Scream. Runaway, Runway, written story by Martin Olson, Bobby Gaylor, storyboarded by Sherm Cohen, Antoine Guilbeault, and directed by Dan Poppenmeyer. How are you coming down on this one, Dragon?
I think it's a vast improvement from last week.
Just this individual episode, or just everything in general?
I meant everything in general, but I guess speaking of this, I guess we should transitioning to this episode specifically. Yeah, again, overall stronger week than last week. This episode is as well. Admittedly, I got to admit, kind of a stock plot. Like we've seen, you've seen fashion trends as like a plot line, but I think given it's kind of a played out kind of story, I think we did the best we could with it, and it had a lot of fun stuff in it. You know, I think we managed to spice it up so it didn't really run stale. It was just let me put it this way: it was brief, not. It was a little on the brief side. It feels a little on the brief side in terms of like the thinness of the Phineas and Ferb plot line. It wasn't quite a balanced A/B plot this go around, but it was still fun. You know, and we do have like nice crossover with the Doofenshmirtz stuff, so it all worked out. Just maybe a little bit of an uneven balance.
I mean, to answer this question, Dragon, how many fashion plots involve copy machine clones?
That's a good question. Let's see.
I mean, I can name at least one.
Okay.
All right. I totally see where you're coming from on that. And fashion is something that is touched upon a lot, but I think what makes this episode work is like how quick those two.
I mean, the go-to fashion episode in animation is it's Ed, Ed and Eddie. They had that whole fashion, like the whole trends in fashion episode. you remember the climax of that one, don't you?
That's not an episode I explicitly remember.
Yeah. Basically, the climax of that one's really funny. It's really sad, honestly. It's kind of sad funny. It's basically the idea that the Eds are trying to keep up with the fashion trends, and they're like five every time they go to do the costume change and they come back, everyone's in a new fashion. This can't win.
And what was the climax to it?
Well, I'm sorry, that was just mainly the climax. The fact that it built to this thing that they're trying to be ahead of the curve, and then it just got to a point where, like, literally every time they changed, new fashion shows, they were like it's like a Twilight Zone sort of thing. Like you could basically every time it's like, oh, people are new fashion, I'm going to dress in that fashion. They come back, and they've already moved on. It's like something kind of synonymous with this is fashion in a nutshell.
I mean, it's not entirely untrue in the world of fashion design.
Yeah.
You have to stay hip. You got to stay fresh. You got to know what the audience wants before they want it.
Exactly.
I mean, the funny thing is, I never really did anything serious with it or went to school for anything. But at one point, I was actually considering going into fashion design.
There also is a Hey Arnold episode about fashion with Helga, where Helga becomes the angry girl model. And if I remember correctly, I could be wrong here because it could have been a different character, but I'm pretty certain Michael McKean, the wonderful Michael McKean, played like the hoity-toity fashion designer who basically tried to sell Helga to the public.
I don't know that. I haven't seen that episode of Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, and do you know who voiced the fashion designer in this episode?
Please tell me.
French Stewart.
Ah, and he plays a French guy, even better.
Yep, he's a guy named French playing someone who's French.
Everyone, I gotta tell you, man, French Stewart very underrated. Really, really. Here's the thing: everyone comes down on those Inspector Gadget movies, and always kind of breaks my heart because I love those Gadget movies. They're not great, mind you. I know they're not good.
Even if he was only in the second one.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm saying the fact that the Inspector Gadget movies, the whole franchise in quotes, it's only two movies. I don't know if two movies necessarily necessitates a franchise, but it's more than one, so I guess it's technically it does. But regardless, it's the fact they made two of those movies, and I think on a simple level, they I think they kind of scratched the itch I'm looking for. I mean, were they the most faithful adaptation of Inspector Gadget? No. Was Inspector Gadget like a really layered thing in the first place? Not really, and it was like an early attempt at bringing the cartoons to live action, which it's a whole conversation in itself. My point being,
Disney's best attempt at it is still George of the Jungle.
sure. Now, all that said, all that said, you're sure that Disney owns the rights to the George and the Jungle movie?
well, no, well, yeah, they just the movie though.
That's what I thought.
Just the movie that they themselves made, not the rest, not the actual show or anything.
Good, thanks. That's what I wanted to clarify. Okay.
But they do own the film adaptation of the movie, and it's on Disney Plus.
Fun fact: the sequel. I'm sorry, folks. We're splintering off already, but I'm gonna bring it back here. So, fun fact: George Jungle 2 has a Tarzan joke in it. Okay, like the anime, like literally like an Easter egg from the animated Tarzan movies in George of the Jungle 2. But back to Inspector Gadget 2. Inspector French Stewart, playing Inspector Gadget in that movie instead of Matthew Broderick. The guy made a very honest attempt at like doing like the Don Adams, cartoon Inspector Gadget. So I mean, all the credit to him, and even though it was very different, but in terms of like bringing a cartoon to life, the man made a very good faith effort. And I think he actually did a really good job in that movie. So, anyways, want to get a little props to French Stewart, just getting in there. He's done a lot of better things than that, but that's one that always comes to me when I think of French Stewart, aside from Clock Stoppers.
Yeah, French Stewart played the fashion designer, and the reason why he keeps mentioning Jerry Lewis throughout the thing is
because the French love Jerry Lewis.
Exactly, you heard of that. You heard that one.
Oh, all over the place, Jacob. Yeah, the French. I have a really funny story about Jerry Lewis. Ralph Garman, the impressionist, who's like who's a radio. He was on the radio and he does podcasts. He's Kevin Smith's buddy. They do a podcast together. Regardless, Ralph Garman, being the impressionist that he is, he did Jerry Lewis impression, and he called I don't know if he called. Somehow he got a hold of France or something, and basically in pretending as like a prank call on the radio. And the French actually believed him, and they were very upset to find out it was not Jerry Lewis.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, so that's where I learned that the French love Jerry Lewis.
So he called the whole country?
I don't know if he called like some head honcho in France or not. I don't know if it was like the.
I mean, it's kind of like Germans being big fans of David Hasselhoff.
The Germans really are fans of Hasselhoff. I know he's big in Germany, but he's saying specifically the Germans are. Yeah.
I mean, he is. I mean, what I mean is like he's popular in Germany.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, but essentially Jerry Lewis, he's very popular in France.
A Jerry Lewis poster? I wish.
Oh, you know what's even funnier? Real
What?
quick.
What?
Dinosaurs. There's an episode where
that's another thing that keeps popping up in this when we talk about this show.
I tell you, man. I told you recently. I rewatched Dinosaurs, and I tell you, man, that ending is just utterly flawless, and like no other sitcom ends that way, and it's perfect. Regardless, there's an episode where they do like a foreign exchange student thing with like a kind of, I guess, a Jurassic bird creature of some kind. Tim Curry's in the episode; he plays the bird. I think I mentioned that when we did like the Tim Curry when Tim Curry showed up a few episodes back
As the butler.
Yeah, as the butler. Anyway, so he played one of the birds in this episode. Like they did the foreign exchange, and he played the father bird. So you had like the father bird and like these two other birds. And the idea is that the birds, because it was foreign exchange thing, all the birds were French. So there was like I think it was like a French Jerry Lewis joke, but basically like a dinosaur equivalent of Jerry Lewis.
Oh God.
So again, it's been a running gag in a lot of stuff, Jacob, that the French love Jerry Lewis.
All right. I mean, I wasn't aware of that before I watched this episode many years ago.
So when I was watching this, I was really cracking up. Oh man, just the fact that like, wait, is that a poster of Jerry Lewis? Oh, I wish.
Like I said, I didn't know that before when I first watched this many years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of surreal considering they don't outside of like the guest stars, they don't really mention a lot of real world people in this show. Like, besides like the guest stars that appear in it.
True.
But like very rarely do they even mention like someone like Jerry Lewis, so it's kind of surreal. But still kind of nice that he gets some recognition even today.
Oh yeah.
So you want to get into the episode then?
Let's do it.
All right. So Ken is watching a fashion show when Phineas comes in. and like, what you watching?
I love that he's always just kind of borrowing Isabella's thing here.
As you'll learn later on, he's the only one that she allows to use it.
Is she gonna shut down other people who try that?
Technically, yes, she does.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, she doesn't really shut them down. She's like, "Am I like? Do I even need to be here?" and another, and you've seen like to bring up an episode that you've seen in the Christmas Vacation episode when Candace says it to Jeremy over the phone. She kind of senses a disturbance. It's kind of so. But when Phineas says it, totally fine.
Yep.
But seeing like the fashion designs, like one kind of just like something from nature, a
rug.
Yeah, rug, tires, some kind of weird arrow thing. Candace raises a good point too. It's like fashion designers create art and people live it. Which is to be fair. I mean, fashion is just called a fashion show for a reason. And as I said, I never really did anything serious with it, but I once did consider getting into fashion design myself.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, this inspires Phineas and Ferb, and Phineas maybe Candace has a point. He calls out, "Ferb, forget the cold fusion reactor. We're tackling fashion. We're forsaking cold fusion for fashion. Cold fashion, one could say."
Well, I mean, it seems they got pretty far in the cold fusion reactor. So
yeah.
And who's to say they can't do it once their fashion stint is over?
But Jacob, can you wear cold fusion reactors though?
I mean, I guess if you designed it, I would design it a certain way. I mean, Iron Man could find a way.
Well, yeah, I guess he could. If he wasn't dead, he could,
Remember, Iron Man is canon to this show, technically.
Oh yes, Iron Man's canon, but we're gonna have some words with that episode when we get there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm waiting for it. I'm gonna tear that episode a new one.
Well, just wait till you actually see the episode.
I know you're right. I'm probably overblowing it, but we'll see.
I mean, yeah. Cold fusion style for real, says LED.
Somebody's gonna have to answer me on that one though.
Well, like I said, technically, when this episode was made, Disney didn't even own Marvel yet, so saying he's canon at that point is kind of apocryphal.
Yeah.
So I was just mainly being facetious anyway.
Anyway, so the boys here, they said they create a summer fashion line. It's pretty much their own outfits, just literally Phineas and Ferb outfits. This is the kind of thing where you walk into like a Hot Topic or something, or like a box lunch store or whatever, and you're gonna imagine if you saw like these on the racks. You could actually see these on the racks. The Disney store recently, they sold Peter Parker's polo shirt from Spider-Man the Animated Series. Even the green and white little polo shirt that he wore, only they add like a little Spider-Man head to like the lapel or something.
Oh, nice.
Well, not the lapel, like the left, like where the breast pocket would be if there were a pocket, which there is not.
And the Disney store near me closed.
Me too.
It's now like where it is like some kind of selfie studio. I think now it was inside a mall. It was inside a mall.
Mine was inside a mall, but they got rid of it, and that bums me out.
Yeah.
Just made it turn into a jacket place, not even a good jacket place, just a bunch of sports stuff.
But yeah, speaking of fashion, like they try to design something cool, comfortable, undetectable by radar, and totally screams summer.
Yeah.
And of course, they get the Fireside Girls to help because they need their sewing patches.
I mean, let's be honest. When you think summer, we're thinking of these two knuckleheads, these two shape-faced boys.
Of course.
Yeah. So. We have a montage, like in summer. Why don't you tell us about the song?
Forever. It's called Forever Summer. Both written and performed by Danny Jacob and Jeff Swampy Marsh.
Okay. All right, let's see. So,
basically the two of the highlights. Basically, some of the highlights include them unraveling all the patterns, like the weird, body time. I don't know the body spinning thing, or like the one where it has like the different items or whatever.
Oh yeah, like the little I know what you're talking about. Yeah, almost like the Mario Kart selection thing. Yeah,
Yes, these geometrical guys.
yeah, those
like,
geos.
it's like, and of course Isabella creating that little string that has the hearts and Phineas' head on it.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, man, he still doesn't get it.
nope.
And of course it ends with Phineas riding away on a sewing machine, and which takes away Ferb's clothes.
Yeah, it's not the best gag, but can't all be winners.
And he runs after it. He's covered up though, Dragon.
I know. I'm just saying it's kind of like I don't need that on a kid show, man. Let's come on. Let's. Regardless, I do love that gag of Isabel in the mirror. Though it's really funny.
Yeah, but it's basically makes her look like it's like a funhouse mirror gag.
Everyone's pointed out. Have you pointed out the whole Helga similarity in Isabel's wardrobe, or am I crazy?
I mean, you have, and I kind of agreed with it.
Okay, as it was. Okay, so we did talk about it before. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. So, moving on.
I mean, I don't know how intentional it is, but there's definitely similarities.
Let's move on to the real star of this episode. I mean, the fashion stuff's fine, but it's going to be a little brief compared to where we really go. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's talk about
Perry the Platypus.
Well, yes. So let's talk about Doofenshmirtz Evil Dirigible.
Yes.
Okay, so right off the bat, man, this just is so great. Like when Perry Platypus enters into the dirigible, there's a big old hole in it. And Doofenshmirtz's first order of business.
He tapes it up.
He duct tapes it up. I duct taped a platypus. The rare duct tape platypus. Like build it. Anyways, I was always trying to make the duck joke. This is great. And he duct tapes Perry the Platypus in restraints, which is even better. It's the fact that he has to fix the entrances that Perry the Platypus makes is just great.
I mean, he doesn't want the blimp to lose any air. I mean, you saw what happened last time.
Exactly, he's learning. He's learning. He went to evil medical school, or did he? But we'll get there.
And speaking of fashion disasters, like Monogram was having one of his own earlier in the episode.
Yeah, what was going on with Monogram?
It's like he was practicing, he was rehearsing, but Perry shows up early. But the thing is, Monogram wasn't wearing pants.
See, one could say Dan Povenmire foresaw the pandemic, but it is unclear.
Either him or Swampy.
Yep. Fair point. Swampy was mainly there in that scene, so it's entirely possible.
Yeah, because Swampy's the voice of.
Oh, I remember. That's the thing. So you bring it up like, yeah, it's probably he could have had hands in that scene.
I mean, we can't credit everything to Dan.
True. Okay,
but,
so
yeah, but what is Doofenshmirtz's plan, Dragon?
Oh, Jacob, Doofenshmirtz's plan is to use the Recap-inator. Yes. I love this device so much for so many reasons. The main reason of which is it gives the perfect explanation to it's the perfect wrinkle in our gritty reboot.
Yeah.
Let's throw it up there. Well, by the way, we where's the thing? The whole time, the thing's not there.
All right. Sorry, I didn't make that banner.
Yeah.
Somebody deleted it. There we go.
All right. Okay, I hope. Do we have banners for the episodes as well now?
Yes, I forgot. I had those up. I just forgot to put them up.
Okay, anyway, so it's great reboot time, yes. So we've been saying, as LEB, I'm sure, has noticed, anyone who's watching has noticed when we get hung up on the screen group thing, which we're going to try and minimize, folks, keep it to the good stuff, maybe at least once per episode. But main one here, right now, is we have the perfect explanation for how Doofenshmirtz keeps getting replaced all the time.
It's the copy and paste-inator.
Copy and paste-inator. So he's like an autopilot, essentially, in which if Doofenshmirtz dies, copies created.
It's like set on auto detection.
Yeah, but you have to have one poor leftover clone has to keep pushing the button. I know, I'm in the know. I have to push the button.
He lives a sad, miserable existence. Either that or once one created, they switch places and then the newly created one takes over.
Yep.
So it's, to have all the current information ready.
Yep, and he's basically like, what's real anymore?
Believe it or not, what I just said is kind of inspired by an episode in their next series, Milo Murphy's Law.
I see.
But we'll get to that later, maybe.
Nothing's real anymore. I'm copy and paste. So that's the basic. All the times in this odd infinitum thing, every time Pair of the Platypus has died or Doofenshmirtz has died, they just made this is how they've been cloning each other, been using the copy and paste-inator. So one, I love the idea. They basically took like a tanning bed and linked it up to a computer, and essentially he's like in physical space doing copy and pasting you do on a computer, and like there's like an actual recycle bin. There's he's hitting all the buttons and he's having all the copiers. I've worked in the office setting, so I battle copiers all the time. So this is funny.
Oh yeah, it's like well, it might seem crazy, but I know it sounds crazy, but you're all tied up. And I'm sending you a giant copy machine to make duplicates of myself. Who's crazy now?
I love the way he delivers that line too. Who's crazy now? So he's making copies. And when he makes the copies initially, you have like the this one that needs more toner, and paper jam. I hate the paper jam one. Yeah, I hate the paper jam. And then of course is like then we have the really off ones. So everyone's butts come out so perfect every time.
Why is it when people copy their butts, it comes out perfect?
Exactly. And of course, he tosses them in like the giant, not like a digital trash can, tosses them in a giant actual trash can. Also, we should mention too, with our set here, the mural. Jacob, we should comment on Doofenshmirtz's mural.
It's like, do you like the mural? It's a similar to me going,
because when we were in, I love that it's not just like a gag that we just revealed. It was there the whole time. If you notice, like, I wonder what that is. That's kind of a nice little aesthetic thing. Is it a mistake or is it just like there? It's like, no, it's actually there. It's a mural, and he calls it out. That's awesome. I love that.
Funnily enough, I never actually noticed that it was there in the background before watching it just recently.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, like I didn't really pay attention to the background in that one, but when I was like, there's the silhouette, because I knew it was there.
All right. So we have an army of Doofenshmirtzes, and Jacob, to get into the plan of why we need all these Doofenshmirtz clones, aside from the reboot at all, the real reason we have them
is because Doofenshmirtz is tired of waiting in line.
I love this so much. This might be my favorite Doofenshmirtz plan. I don't know. It might be. The fact that of all the stupid, he doesn't want to wait in line. I love that. I love that it's not just the thing of like wait in line. Then I'm gonna soak in all the glory. He's treated Jacob. It's important to treat yourself sometimes, and Doofenshmirtz is taking it literally. So the fact that he's like, you get me movie tickets, you got it, buddy, and they're all a lot of teamwork going on here. It's like
you go ride that roller coaster a couple times.
Whoopee! So all that's just wonderful. And then of course when they all jump out of the plane, there's a gag. I wonder if you caught it. There's a really clever, cheeky gag where they're crying like whoopee, and here we go, and then one of them says Native American icon.
Yep, I noticed. Like instead of Geronimo.
I know. I thought it was just real. Oh man, that is so funny right there. That's great.
Native American icon. Woo! Santa Claus. Woo!
It's even better. My favorite line that Doofenshmirtz says in this episode is, "Go, my facsimiles." I love it.
It's very close to like a fax machine.
Oh, true. But, my facsimiles.
Yes, I think my favorite Doofenshmirtz line is, what was it? How did you get out of the trash, you drop-out bohemian?
It's a good line, too. It's really it is good, too. All right, so let's backpedal a little bit here. So Gaston Lamode here, he was looking for a model for his dress with the ridiculously high neckline, and of course
Candace glamorizes about the glamorous life of a supermodel,
including our sponsor for the episode, Jacob, Candaceos.
This episode is brought to you by Candaceos.
Because sometimes you just want to say, "Oh, Candace for breakfast? Why not?"
Exactly.
Oh, Candace. There's your commercial right there. You walk in the door and you have a guy, you're focused on the guy or lady walking through the door and just look to camera saying, "Oh, Candace, give me that cereal. I love these Candaceos. Yeah."
But Stacy shakes her out of it, and it's like I really shouldn't fantasize on an empty stomach.
It's a good idea. Anyway, so she is
It's like,
called. She has this ridiculously high neck. She gets put in the Dracula dress essentially.
oh yeah, like Monsieur, I have great news. A Jerry Lewis marathon on TV tonight.
Oh, I wish.
This is that Candace finds. Candace is revealed to be Gaston Lemaude's coup de crayon.
Coup de crayon.
Yes. And the French is correct. Actually, I took French in high school, so.
Oh, really?
Yep, I took French. I took 2 years of French in high school.
Oh, cool.
And technically, the French is correct, as Ferb's line at the end indicates.
Yep, basically means pencil neck.
Yes. Do you realize that's French for pencil neck?
It's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So, of course, anyways, the boys kind of absurd Candace's fashion dreams when they come in. They basically pitch him the next fashion craze, which is the summer look, which is basically a bunch of Phineas and Ferb. So yet again, kind of parallel in the robot thing. Candace's worst nightmare is basically her brothers everywhere and getting all the glory, but everywhere, as in everyone's dressed like Phineas and Ferb. And those models, they were rocking that look, by the way. I like that montage where saw the models dressed in the summer get-ups.
I mean, yeah, we can say Phineas and Ferb are fashion icons.
Yeah, I guess so. Who knew? Anyway, so then we have this guy where Stacy's dressed like Ferb, but she has like knockoff Ferb shoes.
Yeah. And the magazine, Phineas and Ferb, Kings of Couture.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Fun fact though, couture is actually spelled wrong on the magazine. It's actually spelled Coutur instead of just as the magazine says Cotur.
Yeah, sometimes that happens in animation. I don't know. Do you remember what animation studio wise if we're doing Phineas and Ferb in house or if we outsource it to the Japanese or overseas animation studios?
Well, usually it's like Korean or something along those.
Okay,
lines.
so that's a lot of times, Jake, when they're working on Batman the animated series, they use a lot of studios overseas, mostly Korean, but sometimes you had Japanese and.
Well, I don't know if that's the case for Phineas and Ferb, but like.
Well, I know I was making.
What I'm saying is like, but in like some of the more recent shows that they did, like Milo, like dance shows like Milo and Emster and Gretel, what they did is like they did like what they do here is like draw the keyframes, like draw like the big movements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they send it over to Korea or wherever to animate it, to animate the in between shots.
Well, I was getting at is that sometimes with studio, I think Korea specifically, but in general, depending on who your overseas studio is, sometimes it's going to be kind of a growing pains kind of explanation of certain things that just didn't translate culturally. Like, for example, when they did World's Finest, Batman initially was flying because, they'd drawn Superman flying all the time, and they saw Batman had a cape, so they assumed Batman would fly. I forget if World's Finest was the first time they ran into that issue. It might have been like one of the early times they used an overseas studio for Bat. But let's just say during one of the times they sent it over, you had like Batman flying. It was like, no, they had to explain, no, Batman can't fly just because he has a cape. It doesn't work like that.
And specifically, I just found out these 2 episodes were animated by Rough Draft Korea and Wang Film Productions.
Oh, there you go.
Rough Draft does a lot of stuff.
Cool. All right, let's see. So, okay, so we have fashion stuff going on. Okay, so our resolution to all this here. Now, in retrospect, you think Candace would basically save that magazine and she would show her mother that, but no.
Yeah, she just decides to show her everybody.
Yeah. So what happens?
So what happens is that all the Doofenshmirtz clothes arrive in the mall.
They arrived at the mall. Oh, the mall! So they all arrived at the mall, and they're populating the mall, and everyone's thinking all these people were in the same, this flash mob of Doofenshmirtzes, or Doofenshmirtzi? Doofenshmirtzes?
Yeah, it'd be Doofenshmirtzes.
Anyway, all these heinies. So they're all wearing the same outfit. They're thinking, "Oh God, it's the latest fashion craze. We're missing out again." Kind of the Ed and Eddie thing, like, "Oh God, we're missing out. We must change immediately." So they run to the Retro Pharmacist Limited store in the mall.
And this is like one of the earliest instances of Doofenshmirtz being mistaken for a pharmacist.
Yep, and also just a little tease at multiple pharmacists. in an army sense.
Oh yeah, but
So,
but ultimately the ones later on are much more terrifying.
of course, yes. Anyway, so let's see. So Doofenshmirtz, after we have like the whole drop out Bohemian,
Like,
don't
hey,
hurt,
the little bunny rabbit.
don't hurt the little bunny rabbit.
Like, how'd you get out of the trash, you drop out Bohemian?
And of course, then he hits the delete button, but instead of hitting the delete button, he hits the delete all button.
I mean, you wonder why you would even include that in the first
I
place.
know. Why on earth would he include that? Oh, God.
Well, remember this. As I pointed out before, remember this is the same guy who built an escape hatch into a death trap.
I mean, if there's an actual logic, it's probably what if they turn on me? But they were all really cool with him, though, so he did not need that at all.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the later pharmacists we just discussed about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway. So I guess it's nice to have a contingency plan, even if it is a kind of stupid one.
So Doofenshmirtz gets tied to like a plane. Curse you, platypus, and
well, actually, what happens is he tries to push Perry out because of course he blames Perry for everything that happened, even though Perry really didn't even do anything.
And he's on the other end of the duct tape, and he ends up getting that was a stupid move. Now we're all both gonna. And then he gets hit by the plane. He gets all duct taped up.
Yeah. Curse you, Perry the platypus.
So then, of course, old Doofenshmirtz is gone. Linda sees her daughter going crazy yet again, and you can imagine Candace and the reboot going, "It's all, they're everywhere, they're everywhere." It's okay, Candace. We'll get you a Cinnabon. It's okay, Candace.
Of course, Gaston tries to take credit for the pharmacist trend.
Yep.
I'll always be his coup de crayon. Do you realize that's French for pencil neck?
Yep. And there's your episode.
Yes. And moving on to Ice Cream, You Scream. Story by Bobby Gaylor, storyboards by Sherb Cohen, Antoine Gilbeau, and Zach Moncrief directed the episode. All right, some special guest stars. Ming-Na Wen plays the Doctor, and Allison Janney plays Charlene Doofenshmirtz.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah, I thought this was a great episode. It I think it crossed over A and B plots very well. Admittedly, uses a medical plot I'm not crazy about, but we keep it very minimal as we're going to do here. So
I mean, that's why I just said Doctor.
Exactly. So
who's actually Stacy's mom, by the way.
Well, get out of here! Really? You mean Ming-Na? They made Ming-Na. This is the stuff I need to know, man. Really? So she's she's Stacy's mother.
Yep.
Get all the mothers in this episode, man. We're building a brigade of mothers in the tri-state area.
It's just technically not revealed in this episode.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, anyway, I'm very satisfied with that. I think that's cool. I love Ming-Na Wen, so she's gonna be back.
Yeah, she is back several times. I mean, she's not like a major character or anything, but she does appear slightly. She does appear several more times.
Yep. See, now what we need is a Phineas and Ferb Mando episode, and we can bring everyone back.
Technically, I guess so.
Yeah. All right, so overall, I dig the episode. Anyway, yeah, go on.
So basically, because of the procedure that Isabella had to go through, Phineas and Ferb says, like, "Hey, you can have all the ice cream you can never want."
Yes, it's by law, so they're going to get her a whole bunch of ice cream, and the boys want to do something special for her with getting copious amounts of ice cream.
Yeah, their first idea, though, like to have the event they wanted to do that day was the Trojan War reenactment. Yeah, it's like, sorry guys, we got to postpone the Trojan War reenactment until further notice. and in season 4, they actually do the Trojan War reenactment.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Not with these same guys, because they use more of their regular cast instead of just some extras. But they do finally do the Trojan War reenactment. So Having all the ice cream you can want, that of course inspires Phineas to say, "I know what we're gonna do today." But instead of designing their plans, he decides to send Ferb down to Blueprint Heaven to pick up a design instead.
Yeah. So, I mean, first off, a few things here. One, really nice gesture. We're going to make Isabel feel better with ice cream. That's a simple plot I can get behind. Secondly,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
because throat trouble is no fun. Because the kind of procedure isn't fun, and eating ice cream is a great way to receive that.
yes.
To relieve the pain.
So, other thing, blueprints, man. I love the semantics of the blueprints. The idea they have to get the idea there's like a design sketch or descriptions and I guess information they want. They have to instead of just drawing it on the blueprint themselves, they basically they shop it out to have it made nice and presentable. So it's purely like an aesthetic thing that they're having done. That's the fact we have like a blueprint store that is like going to put it on the blueprint for you. I mean, clearly it's a plot convenience so we can have a switcheroo on blueprints, but it doesn't really. It's just really funny though. It just kind of works. It's the fact that we went so full tilt. There's a place where you get your blueprints done. I think that's just really nice.
Yeah, or just like blueprints that are already either that or pre-made blueprints.
I mean, that'd be cool. It kind of takes like the ingenuity out of it, and then we have like a whole ethical thing about entrapment for what's happening with Doofenshmirtz. If like he's just buying the blueprints of like evil plans they've come up with, that's very high. That's highly unethical.
Well,
Which then again might bring us slightly to
Gritty Reboot.
Okay, so Monogram. Monogram's just a sadist, man. He's just a freaking sadist. What he wants to do is, but where'd it go?
I saw a typo.
No. Yeah, so this is Monogram, man. The man's just a sadist. What he does, like, you know what? I have all this government fundage all this government funding I need to spend like for tax purposes. I need a fall guy. I need someone to foil. And I'm just gonna take this dime store pharmacist looking guy. I'm gonna make sure he has instant, easy access to evil plans. I'm gonna send him a little platypus buddy with the hat to go stop him. Not really anything to stop. That's why we build in all the self-destruct buttons and all the plans. No harm, no foul. It just keeps the world spinning and keeps the lights on here, and we're all richer for it. Not the platypus. That we don't pay the platypus. We just give them hats.
Actually, they do pay the platypus.
Wait, get out of here! Really, they pay the platypus?
Yep, the platypus does give money.
What does Perry buy?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe more hats. but later in certain episodes, it does reveal that he does get some kind of money, and he even earns vacation too.
Well, vacation, sure, but I mean, really, he gets paid.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's a.
Oh, he should get paid. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disagreeing. He should absolutely get paid for all he puts up with, especially for Monogram. But I don't know. It just I'm surprised that he pays him.
I mean, it's not a major plot point. It's not a major plot point or anything, but it is casually mentioned here and there. But it's casually mentioned like once or twice.
We got to keep track of if Perry, Jacob. I want you to be on get the feelers out for this. Okay, I want you to keep your eyes peeled. I want you to look out for anything nice that Perry the Platypus has that he might have bought with his government stipend.
I'll keep an eye out, Dragon.
Let's see how well Alka pays, man.
I mean, there's an episode later where he has a nice robe, so there's that.
There we go. We're gonna assess that robe. Okay.
Yep.
We're gonna do the platypus's taxes. Oh man!
Kind of appropriate considering the day it is.
Exactly.
I mean, technically it's the day before, and taxes aren't even due to the 18th, but usually, but tax season and all that.
For our purposes, for the week in which we're covering the show, it's appropriate. So.
Yes.
Anyway, so let's see. With the shift gears a little bit here, the other best part of this episode is it's a Vanessa episode. It's an episode all about Vanessa, as in Vanessa Doofenshmirtz.
You're taking a liking to Vanessa, I see.
I gotta be honest with you, I've rarely in this walk of life come across a Vanessa I don't like. I love Vanessa from Daredevil. I really love Vanessa from Deadpool, and I like Vanessa Hudgens.
Nice.
She's really pleasant, especially in the night before Christmas movie, spelled with a K, like medieval night. The night, She's delightful.
Huh, all right.
Anyway, big fan of Vanessa's. It's just kind of an odd trend so far. I want to transition to another name-centric thing, but we're gonna have to wait just a moment, okay?
I like the idea of Perry waiting awkwardly in a line in a store amongst humans.
No. You know what it is, Ellie B? It's gonna be like that scene because it just passed recently. It's gonna be like that scene from It's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown, where Snoopy has to go into a mall and he buys stuff, and we reuse the little animation cycle. Jacob, do you remember that? You remember that you literally used the same animation of Snoopy buying that birdhouse twice?
I remember, Dragon. I chose that episode for the best holiday special for the Charlie Brown debate.
Well, I know that, but I mean, did you know?
Yes, I noticed.
They reused it. Yeah,
I noticed.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah, it's gonna be probably something like that. Where Paris is waiting in the store, just making purchase and everything. He's like, huh, okay. See, if he took off the hat, it would be very conspicuous. But if he puts on the hat, no one questions it.
Yep.
The hat's gonna come back a lot in our conversation tonight, folks, especially when we get to some semantical stuff later. Anyway, so Vanessa.
Again, to jump forward a bit, this is also one of the few times early on where he actually recognizes Perry without the hat.
Yeah, but yes and no.
I mean, yeah.
So we'll get there, regardless. Let's see. So we meet Vanessa's mom. This is a huge thing. We've talked up. Vanessa has a mom, because Doomsday has a daughter, because that's how that works. That's science, kids. So
unless she's adopted, but it is revealed. But it is revealed in the episode where she goes like, "Tell your mother you had fun, though."
Yeah, so we've been building up like the fact she's had a mother, which implies Doomsday either is married or has an ex-wife. In which this episode we fully confirm he's got an ex-wife, and it's Charlene.
Voiced by Allison Janney.
The wonderful Allison Janney, yeah. Yeah, the woman was nominated for an Oscar. I forget if she won that Oscar. No, she's nominated for an Oscar.
Huh, nice.
Yeah, for I, Tonya. You've seen I, Tonya, haven't you?
No, actually, I have not.
It's pretty good. So, anyways, I love this hysterical idea of Candace and Vanessa, being in parallel with each other. It's the fact that we kind of parallel them and what they go through, and we see the fact that there's trying, like Vanessa trying to kind of bust her father for being evil. And I love it's not even like a malicious thing. She's like, "No, Mom, he's evil. He's an evil scientist. Oh, he's not bad. He's not that bad. Like, no, he's really evil." Like she calls the number and it plays the jingle. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. It's like, listen to the jingle. And of course, she calls again and they answer the phone. So she's stymied with the darning evidence.
Yep, then it's like, well, I heard it ring once, and then I was standing by the phone.
This is the stuff I live for, Doofenshmirtz. Just the utter mundanity of like, well, the phone rang, so he answered it again. He's not going to let the machine go. He's a nice guy, It's like, well, if I can answer, I'm going to answer it.
It's like,
can you pick up some blueprints for me, sweetie?
And speaking of the whole busting thing for Vanessa, that she only really does it in the first season. All her later appearances, like, they do more to flesh out her character than just trying to get her dad in trouble.
Well, that makes sense. I like that we at least did it once, though. We did it pretty fun.
I mean, she does it at least like once, another time in this season. But like it's something that they kind of dropped after a few times.
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, go on.
But most likely because like having both Candace and Vanessa doing that at the same time probably just be too much.
No, it's a good call. But I mean, in general, though, this episode really puts it, kind of puts it forward. I love the idea that Candace and Vanessa would make really good friends, and we kind of see that later on down the line. It seems, at least in one episode I saw, and just the fact that they are, we're kind of building that up here in a big way. In which they're not sharing the same space in this episode, but they are, they're kind of split screen together and doing a musical number together. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Definitely, we'll get to that one. We'll get to that one in a bit.
So, Jacob, we go to Blueprint Heaven.
Yes. So,
and
of course, and the lady voice was actually voiced by a comedian named Lonnie Love.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So, and Ferb's there talking, quote unquote, to the shopkeeper.
I love the Blueprint lady, and I love more so what we find out about the Blueprint lady. Because we have this sassy Blueprint lady. It's like, oh, don't. Basically, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have this. I'm like, okay, I'll check.
It's like, and she just blinks at her. She's like, hey, no need to be upset.
Love it. So then we have this girl,
You
Ferb's
can-
waiting.
You can say Ferb has a way with words.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob, you ready for some kismet?
Kismet, yes.
Okay, kids, kismet time. Ferb, he's waiting by the counter. Vanessa walks in. Vanessa. Like Ferb in his mind, he's going full D'Onofrio. He just sees her walking like they're in an art gallery right now, and she just kind of walks in, just kind of saunters on in as he's literally waiting. He's probably staring at blueprints, much like Wilson Fisk stares at rabbit in a snowstorm. Let's just go with me on this here. Okay, he's just staring at blueprints, the representation of his desire, his past, and his future. Everything right there, symbolically. She walks up to him.
And she says the magic words, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yep, and his eyes go wide, and they're looking at her. It's like a blink. He doesn't utter a word because he's love struck, kids. Ferb's in love.
It's like the thing is, from our perspective, just and everyone else's, it's just like her going, "Hey, how's it going?" Just kind of like bored
So
out of her.
casual, just it's pleasant. It's base blind pleasantries, but still there's a spark there, kids.
But what Ferb sees is, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah, like that other. Speaking of Kingpin, it's like the other scene from another Spider-Man here, in which this is like across into the Spider-Verse, where it's like, hey, he's like it's just like doing like the shoulder thing to him practically. Hey. Practically. Okay, also this is a really funny idea. Is the fact that our big switcheroo is kind of happening because I was weak.
that's one of my favorite Ferb lines, to be honest.
It's great.
It's like, but the fun, and I mentioned this to you on the background, but one of the reasons why they included Ferb falling in love with Vanessa in the first place is because it's a callback to both their respective actors' previous roles in the movie Love Actually.
Which is nice.
Yep. Thomas Sangster's character in that movie fell in love with Olivia Olson's character from that movie.
Question.
Yes.
Will other Love Actually actors be in this show?
That I don't know. I don't know of all the actors in Love Actually off the top of my head.
Okay, what about Martin Freeman?
I want to say no. I don't think he is in this episode.
That's a shame because he feels like a shoe-in for this show.
Liam
Neeson?
Liam Neeson, definitely not.
Oh man, there was an opportunity for him to show up at least in one of these, and we'll get there.
There's more alumni obviously from Rocky Horror than Love Actually.
I'm saying, given this little kind of love factoid, you'd imagine.
Maybe, or maybe they
they're
try.
going to say we're mainly Rocky Horror, but if we had another one,
but yeah, of course, as I mentioned, Olivia Olson is actually the daughter of the writer Martin Olson, who works on this show and several others.
Nepotism for the win.
Hey, she's good at her job either way.
Yeah, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm just saying, hey, it's a win. It's not nepotism for we're all suffering.
Heck, in Dan's most recent show, his daughter voices one of the main characters.
Is she any good?
Yeah, she actually is pretty good.
All right, good. That's what I like to hear. All right. So, let's talk about what went wrong, Jacob. What went wrong here? So, we learn there was a blueprint switch. There was a sting operation. There's an Alka sting operation going on here.
LEB's comment here. It's been introduced, but I must say, as the show goes on, Ferb really becomes the ultimate player.
Well, ladies love the quiet guys.
Yep. After all, he does. One of the reasons he does it is for the ladies.
Let's face it, the Vanessa, she digs him. And you know why she digs him? Because his head's in the shape of her father's building. It's the daddy issues thing in itself. It's like, you know what? There's something about him that reminds me of my father, but I just can't place it. And of course, she's like sitting down. She's like sitting down somewhere. Like she's love struck, so she's on the ground. She's looking up at him. She's seeing him behind him in the deep background is the building. It kind of takes a step forward, and he fills the silhouette perfectly.
Well,
hey.
Hey.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like. So, what is the big reveal early on, Dragon?
So, sting operation that Monogram set up, and we reveal, and this is where we're going to get into the gritty reboot, kids. we reveal that the blueprint lady was in fact Carl
In disguise.
wearing a flesh suit. So,
Oh God.
gritty reboot time.
Gritty reboot time.
Well, kids, it's kind of a twofer because this one actually is as it seems. I don't really have to do much legwork here. Technically, Carl did blackface.
Oh God.
Technically, I mean it's
I mean,
it's a costume, but it's it's a black lady. Carl pretended to be a black lady.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
No, look, it's not a big deal, but it made me really laugh. Like, oh man, that's kind of the modern climate we're in now would instantly call this sort of ridiculous thing out. But it just does make you think though, huh? We really wanted to make you think that was not Carl. They really went out their way on that one.
I mean, he's apparently good at it.
I mean, he is. I mean, Jake. I mean, again, the gritty reboot though, Carl gets canceled after he does this. Like, he gets fired from work. HR gets involved. It's a whole thing. Like, Carl, I said I wanted you to go undercover. I didn't mean like, well, what we did, and you screwed up the blueprints, Carl.
Yep. I mean, as a son. I mean, he was trying to give Doofenshmirtz fake blueprints, but actually gave him real ones.
Yeah, but again, Carl's in deep trouble for many reasons this episode, kids. Just the fact that Carl won, the NAACP is going to come after him. But secondly, it's just the fact that, Carl, how could you give him real blueprints? And let alone you switch the blueprints.
It's a double fail.
Yeah, just Carl, just Carl. You know what, Carl? I'm sorry, Carl, we're going to have to replace you. Jacob, let's bring up the Cabal of Carls. The Carl Bomb. The coalition of Carls.
The cartoon Carl Cavalcade.
Yes, the Cavalcade of Carls. We can get rid of the banners.
Or Carltoons, if you will.
Okay, Jake, let's get rid of the gritty reboot thing for a moment here so people can see the full image.
All right, sorry.
Yeah. So, folks, I'm going to walk you through the Carl diagram here for a moment. Well, Jake, do you like the honors? You want to walk them through it?
Okay, so read through them. First off, we have some comments.
Right.
Carl will never work in Danville again.
Nope. But we got replacements for him.
And probably in reaction to what we just said, wow. Was not expecting to see that.
Yeah. Okay, so we have so Carl, I did not know. So Carl's last is literally Carl.
Yes, that is literally his name.
I gotta respect the different beginnings of those. Carl with a C followed by Carl with a K. I'll give him that.
And apparently he has a cousin named Carla.
Really?
Yes.
Oh man,
we don't ever see her though.
If we saw her, we would still have a diagram of all the Carlas.
Yes.
Okay. So
running through this, obviously in the top left in the top left corner, you see Carl from this show, Phineas and Ferb. Going down this line, you see Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron.
Yes.
I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name, but Carl from Johnny Bravo.
Yes.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
All right. And of course, we have the beloved Carl Fredrickson, who kind of elated all of our hearts and taught us life lessons.
Yep, and later on, and in June, we'll finally get to go on another date.
Yeah. So then we have Carl from SpongeBob. This is a good. I want to give you all the credit in the world for this Carl pull, by the way. It's an excellent Carl pull for our purposes here.
It's like, yep, it's a Carl from only one episode, and it's the one where Mr. Krabs sells the Krusty Krab.
It's a memorable episode, though.
It's like one of the better ones from season 4.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying. Season 4 was, again, 3 would have been going out on the high note. 4 still had good stuff. Just it's when we started to lose momentum. That's all.
Season 4 is the last gasp, basically.
There you go. It's the last gasp, and then 5 onwards, we get into the iffy territory.
I mean, season once Hillenburg returned in 10 or 11, then it got somewhat good again.
Yeah, but the damage has been done at that point, though.
I know.
Anyway.
And of course, one that you'll be familiar with afterwards is Carl Moss from King of the Hill.
Yes, Carl Moss is basically the beleaguered principal of Bobby's school that Hank knows from. I think it was they were on the football team in Hank's high school days. The idea Bobby was the same high school as Hank. That's the idea.
Then going down is Carl Gould from Arthur.
Yeah.
I think Carl the Robot from Meet the Robinsons.
Love Carl the Robot from Meet the Robinsons. He's great. Very cool guy.
Who voices him again?
I'm trying to remember. Carl, I know that voice actor. I'm completely blank. I've not gone back to Meet the Robinsons in a while.
Okay, I'm
God.
Carl the robot.
All I know is he was very pleasant. He's got the Bill Joyce design. He's just like, oh, hey guys, how's it going? He's, this Carl's got style, man.
Harland Williams.
Oh, cool.
I don't know who that is, but still cool. He has a good voice for him.
He does. Then we have Carl Foutley.
From As Told by Ginger.
You have Ginger's little brother who is always getting the mischief.
Like Carl, the store manager from Family Guy.
Yeah, we kind of went, as you can tell, folks, we went from kind of like the nerdy, kind of like, the bespectacled Carls to kind of the youth appeal, then to kind of beyond that.
Like Carl Carlson from The Simpsons.
Yep.
Carl Brutanelewski or Lusky from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yep.
Very
popular, Carl.
I mispronounced that name most likely.
Yep.
Like Combat Carl from Toy Story.
Love me some the coolest combat, the coolest of all the Carls put together. Let's be honest.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Carl the Minion from Despicable Me 2.
Yeah.
Carl Beaumont from Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Debatably one of the most important Carls.
And Carlos Ramon from the Magic School Bus.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, it was nice hearing from you, Carlos. We gotta get Carlos in there, man. Not enough people talking about Carlos. Carlos, like they all had like a line for him. Carlos.
That's I could not find that many Carls. I gotta give you props for this.
you got to admit, with Carlos, a part of me is like, it's too late for it now because now we're doing like Blue Beetle and everything. With the kid that plays Miguel on Cobra Kai, if we can go back in time and do like a Magic School Bus live action adaptation, Carlos still would have been Miguel.
Nice.
I'm gonna butcher the kid. That's why I'm not. I know the kid's name. I'm gonna butcher if I say it. So I'm just gonna say Miguel for the time being until we get more media stuff from we're able to say his name actually a little more easily.
And so, Dragon, why are you bringing up this cabal of Carls?
That's what I'm saying. Carl's out of the job. We need to recast him. We need we need Carls to spare apparently. And of course it's like the Hydra, man. If like we cut off one Carl's head, two more will take its place, and it's just there.
But look how many of these Carls look almost exactly the same.
Yes, you'll notice a lot of similarities here. Not all completely similar, but like a multiverse of Carls. Again, it's like the Council of Kangs. It's the Council or Cabal of Carls. Many of them very similar. Red, and it's like an evolutionary chart, kids. We start with Carl, we end with Carlos. Yeah.
Oh God. All right, and we'll probably bring that up again later if Carl screws up. So.
Yeah.
Back to the actual episode.
All right. So the boys are trying to build a Sunday machine.
Yes.
Which is cool.
And of course Doofenshmirtz begins planning his machine, but Perry shows up and it's too early, so he has Perry wait in the waiting room.
I love this joke so much. I haven't even built it yet. You're gonna have to wait. And yeah, so this little waiting area. And then of course my favorite detail about this waiting area is sorry about the magazines. They're all in Spanish. I stole them from my neighbor because you gotta be evil.
Evil never rests.
Evil never rests. This is the fact that Perry's waiting and reading Spanish magazines. I think it's so funny.
He steals them from a Spanish neighbor or Mexican neighbor. I don't know. It's not really specified.
Love it.
But it's not very nice, Doofenshmirtz.
Not truly evil, but more like inconvenient evil.
I mean, that's what Doofenshmirtz mostly does, as you've noticed.
Yeah, oh for sure. So
it's like my pick would easily be Weezer. He's the most Carlist.
No, I agree. He'd be my top choice.
I'm Carl. He'd be Rob Paulson's pick too.
I think honestly, Carl Weezer would be the top choice. The backup choice would be Carl from Johnny Bravo.
I mean, Rob Paulson's gone on and saying like Carl's like one of his favorite characters he's ever played.
I'm delighted to hear him say that.
Like apparently on his podcast he's done Carl more than any other character.
It tracks.
It's like, yes, I'm Carl. Sorry.
All right, so
it's like as the boys and Doof are building their projects, that leads to Busted. was performed by Olivia Olson as Vanessa and Ashley Tisdale as Candace.
So the actual voice is doing the singing,
Yes.
which is good.
And written by Bobby Gaylor, Antoine Gilboa, Jess Swampy Marsh, Martin Olson, and Dan Povenmire.
It's a really good musical number for them, and obviously summarizes Candace's whole shtick, but gives her a little gal pal to do it with. And even though they're not technically doing it together, they're kind of doing it together, but not really, in the same space, plotting wise.
I mean, we've seen musical numbers like that before.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a cool idea. We're kind of going, Bye Bye Birdie with it.
Totally. So,
or Chicago, whatever you want to use, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure on the Bye Bye Birdie, but
Bye Bye Birdie had the whole in the movie. I don't know if the musical did this as well, but the movie version has the split screen sort of thing where they're all talking on the phone about the bird. Anyway.
But yeah, so basically it's where they're both singing about the same thing at the same time. That is actually one of the most popular songs from the show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard the song outside the show or anything, or heard people mention it.
You mean this song?
Yes.
No, I have not, but it's pretty good.
Yep, hell yeah, Phineas. Bus is easily in the top 10 Phineas and Ferb songs for me.
I just think it's really cute they're dancing together. I think that's really nice.
Yeah, but they're synchronized dancing and they're not even in the same area.
I love it. These guys love the idea of these two as friends, and I can't wait to see more of them interacting with each other.
I mean, it does happen more often because obviously at this point they don't know about each other except that one meeting in Swinter.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
But they do kind of become minor friends. Obviously Candace hangs out with Stacy more than anything else. But
I mean, that's something for the legit. That's something for the revival.
Yeah, that is something they could probably address in the.
Just make them friends, Povenmire, the Swampy. Make your daughters friends, guys. Come on.
I mean, they already are friends.
I'm saying regular. They say make her the new Stacy. One could argue.
I mean, what's wrong with Stacy?
Nothing's wrong with Stacy. You can have Stacy there too, but you know what? Let's.
What do you got against Kelly Who, Dragon?
How dare you, sir? How dare you besmirch my Kelly Who love? Oh.
I mean, you're the one who says
You're a tad, sir.
You're the one who's saying forget Stacy, not me.
Why can't you reverse him, huh? Why can't you have Stacy kind of show up a little more sparingly? It's not like we call her every episode on the phone. It's not like we could switch him a little bit.
See, that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
It's so what have you got against Kelly Who?
I have nothing against Kelly Who. Why is the episode not even having her on the phone?
I don't know, Dragon.
Right, so. The fact of the matter is, I'd like more Vanessa, please.
I mean, we do. I mean, Vanessa does become more of a regular character in season 2, 3 onwards.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, so let's talk about Jay. We're not even talking about the best part of the episode yet.
The space laser-inator.
No, I mean that's great, but no, we're talking about Jay. We're not even getting to the best part of the episode.
All right, what is it?
Cooking class.
Cooking class.
We gotta tell seriously. As much as I love those two girls hanging out with each other, I love infinitely more the mom crossover. I love as we're making crepes in a learning annex, cooking class of sorts. We have Linda and Charlene,
and they
crepes together, dealing with their wacky, deluded teenage daughters,
making crepes together.
Yep, they're not even sure they're making crepes.
I'm not sure either, but crepes is technically the proper pronunciation of that.
Wait, is it crepes?
Yeah, remember I took French.
I know, that's why I'm asking you. So it's crepes.
Yes.
Have I been saying it right?
Yes, it's crepes.
Okay, there you go. It's crepes. Anyway, yes. So they may or may not be making crepes.
All right.
Anyway, so it's the fact that I just love that these two, the fact they've interacted without really knowing how much cross pollination is going on in their worlds already. I just think that's already really funny. I love the idea of these two as friends. I love giving Linda friends. I love seeing Linda interact with her friends. She does her little, her band and everything. So I just love that. We see Charlene is another friend that she has. I think that it's just great.
It kind of becomes a close thing, a close-knit neighborhood kind of thing.
Yeah. And, of course, they're both called away by their daughters simultaneously. And I love the fact that earlier we called out that the Candace to Phineas the whole I'm gonna tell mom. Okay.
It's like Phineas, you do know I'm in charge, right? Isn't that just if a satellite crashes into it?
I love that. Was a great callback. That was excellent. I'm so glad they brought that up. But beyond that, I just love the fact that is just like, well, honey, I don't. How do you even know if they did anything bad yet? It sounds like like you don't even. Basically, she doesn't have anything really to go off on right now. So they're making ice cream. This is getting sad. This is leading to again more of that gritty reboot. Candace getting committed stuff.
I mean, honestly, there was less when they were doing the whole fashion thing because they can't really get in trouble for designing fashion either.
Yeah. Anyway,
but honestly, I think they would be get more in trouble for the building the giant ice cream machine. But even then, that's like one of their more least punishable offenses.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not like the roller coaster where they could literally endanger people and get in trouble.
That was actually very reckless.
Or the whole racing thing.
Not true. They took her car without asking.
Yep, they did.
It's Grand Theft Auto. They actually could. Yeah.
LEB mentions mom lore.
Mom lore. Hashtag mom lore.
Yes.
I think again, it's a shame we couldn't kind of do these somewhat. It's a shame we couldn't pluck this, and put on Mother's Day.
Well, I mean, and there are plenty of other mom episodes. So.
Well, that's good to hear.
All
right. So, also we have like the whole. You have the classic. Aren't you a little young gag? Where like, aren't you a little young to be working with like industrial? What was it like?
Industrial. Let me find it. Aren't you a little young to be using titanium
plating and industrial arc welding?
Yes, I am.
We get that a lot.
Yeah. And they do get that a lot.
That is true. All right, so let's see. So after that point, then we reveal what the Switch ultimately begot here. So,
what if we need to talk about why Doofenshmirtz is building the laser in the first place?
Yes, I love his reason here too. I love the fact Doofenshmirtz is building it for. And then, to me, by point of comparison, the Doofenshmirtz, I melded them together there for a second. The Doofenshmirtz plot. The Doofenshmirtz, if you will. The Doofenshmirtz plot is essentially what last week should have been. The idea that Doofenshmirtz, he was just destroying random, uberly specific things, but here it was broad, but in a really funny sense. Like Doofenshmirtz has very mundane obstacles here, where just basically his view has been obstructed by continuity here. The brick sign from the boy's toy. Well, not the replacement for the boy's toy.
It's fun.
Brick. It's fun.
It's fun.
You say brick 8 times, and then it's fun.
It's like now, who would buy a brick for a toy?
Yeah.
It does absolutely nothing.
Anyway,
the brick billboard was basically blocking his view. It's a prime real estate spot to watch other people's misery unfold.
And of course, we have this great montage of the Doofenshmirtz looking at people like traffic jams and accidents too.
Car wreck. Oh man.
Then let's see. Then we have the chiropractor. Oh man.
And then
we have the best one.
The tax building is you owe $78,000. Oh man.
So of course
only $78,000 would suck.
And we have a Swiper the Fox from Dora the Explorer is one of these guys.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Swiper, no swiping.
Oh man.
Dude just wants his entertainment. What's wrong with that? It's free entertainment. It's free entertainment.
See, here's a tangent for you.
Yep. Is it a gritty reboot tangent or just a regular tangent?
I mean, it's a spin-off gritty reboot tangent.
All right, so I'll just leave it the way it is then.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Swiper the Fox and Dora the Explorer, the gritty reboot of Dora the Explorer.
Speaking of which, I have yet to see the actual live-action movie.
I always Tiki really praised the heck out of it. I have not watched it because it did not look appetizing to me at all. But I think that's kind of the playing with that fact, so I don't know. Regardless,
LEB's doing it for us. See,
tangent time. So imagine if Swiper was just basically we had like the mental health awareness that we have now. It's like, oh, Swiper has kleptomania. You know, we should get him into like a story like, Swiper, why do you swipe all the time? And he goes in this whole sordid backstory about kleptomania. He feels it's like imposter syndrome and everything. I don't deserve things, but I want them, and it's like, you know, why he has like a little bit of OCD, which is why the whole rule of three thing affects him. So it's basically it's a journey of healing. That's basically like the most successful episode of Dora the Explorer ever, right there. Like, okay, Swart, we're gonna get you some counseling. We're gonna get you some better help. Yep.
And Ferry would probably be a good person to set him straight. Actually.
Possibly.
All right, but those aren't the only things that Doofus were supposed to give her. It's like, I know the other annoyances that make my skin crawl.
That's what I'm saying. We made the annoyances broader, which is a lot better than making them very uber specific to the other plot, which made them really forced. Here, it's like nature,
beauty, oh,
morning talk show host.
Yay!
We can all get on board with that.
Like he wants to destroy morning talk show hosts.
Yeah. Take that, the talk.
It's a gritty reboot, but a happy ending.
There you go.
Yes.
All right, so of course he activates what he thinks is the space laser in nature.
Like, well, not to mention before the like, they don't get these doctors. Like Vanessa questions like, "When are you a doctor?" They don't get these out to anybody, you know.
Pulls out his doctorate, which is all framed, but also has a price tag on it. It's $15.
Apparently, to anyone for 15. So yeah, I mean, apparently he did buy his doctorate for $15, but I mean, look what he's able to build, though. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Do you think he's actually like? Do you think he actually like went to like medical school, like correspondence thing, or do you think he purely like? Do you think that?
I mean, doctors are more than just medicinal. I mean, if you have a doctor in any field, you can still be called a doctor.
No, I know that. I'm just saying with the fact that, you know, he's potentially purchased it. I mean, do you think he did like a follow-up thing and actually got a degree and this is just like a placeholder thing, or do you think he actually just like skipped all that and he bought the thing? He's just a prodigy. An incompetent prodigy, but a prodigy all the same.
I think he's just the prodigy.
Okay.
Maybe like an idiot savant would be better. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Well, I don't. Maybe. Anyway,
I mean, that might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. So.
Sorry.
Regardless, he activates the thing after this. Also, I love earlier on, he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you take an interest in the family business." When she's like asking questions, getting ready to bust him, and she calls the mom and everything.
And of course, now time to begin my reign of terror. Evil terror, you know, as opposed to regular terror.
I mean, Jake, let's be honest. Terror just doesn't have the same bite you need. Evil terror.
It's like, and this is the way he says it too. He's like, evil terror.
Yeah. So he hits the button, and what happens?
He hits the button, and what happens is we see what we see before us. It spots out, it catches him, and covers him in mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Yep. Okay, a couple things here. All right. Okay, yeah. One, Perry Platypus in that little floating cage there. So his hat gets knocked off in the cage and he gets turned back into the full-on like platypus Perry. So continuity-wise,
yeah,
we've set up. Okay, so Doofenshmirtz at times in the dating in the Bigfoot episode, he knows that Perry turns into regular platypus without the hat.
Yeah.
Okay, but in other episodes though, like the time travel episode, he's sentient and walking around but without the hat on. And many other times, like the evil convention, like, you know, he's just like, you know, it's like Perry the platypus as he like removes the, you know, a platypus, Perry the platypus, he removes the hat and everything.
Yeah.
So it just feels a little like one, it feels really easy just for the plot, like when like that cage comes on, the hat gets knocked off, and he's just conveniently. He's really lucky he was in that cage because otherwise he'd be really crammed in there because it's a horizontal cage instead of a vertical cage.
I mean, it's a good thing Perry's horizontal.
That's what I'm saying, but only when the hat comes off, and only in that case when we're. It feels like we're being a little loosey goosey, inconsistent with our platypus needs here.
Well, I mean, real life platypuses aren't teal.
But Jacob, we can dream, can't
we? And we can dream, yes. Funnily enough, though, years later they actually did like study platypuses, and actually found out they actually do glow green under under bioluminescence, like some kind of luminescence.
So they lucked out.
Yes, it's like they hadn't even made like a whole video about it.
Yep. Anyway, so there's that quibble. Then there's the fact of like, oh yes, the undoing of all evil in the world. I'm going to coin a Better Call Saul reference here. Bluebell mint chip ice cream. It's the desire of all men who have done evil deeds in their past. It's the thing that it's the temptation, man. It's the siren call of ne'er-do-well of ne'er-do-welldom. You know, just to do something sinister or dishonest or something very, very ethically questionable. That's the taste of ethical compromise, my friend. It is Bluebell mint chip ice cream. And Doofenshmirtz, the show that's a cut above the rest. What his Bluebell mint chip ice cream has that the others do not. He's got a cherry on top.
Oh, a big one too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like mint chocolate chip ice cream, Dragon?
Not particularly, no.
Oh, all right.
I'm not evil though, so.
Like, well, neither am I, but I like mint chocolate chip ice cream.
All right, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to whistle at the guilty party. Okay, so kidding. All right, no. Regardless, Charlene enters.
It's like it's maybe not evil, but definitely a bit much.
I'm definitely paying you too much alimony.
I thought you were lactose intolerant.
I am. So we learned something. Did we know this beforehand?
No, and I don't think it's ever brought up again.
Here's a question.
Yes.
Are we going to see him eating ice cream down the line?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, maybe. I mean, like, maybe if it's just like a small little bit and it's not really like a plot or anything. I mean, he does have a sweet tooth.
Are we going to see him drinking milk?
Like I said, Dragon, I don't remember every little detail, but yes, I think you do see him like eating cereal at one point.
Okay. Anyway.
And besides, there's more kinds of milk than just like dairy milk.
Okay, you're right about the milk. Okay, the milk, that's a very good point about the milk, but the ice cream, though, that one's actually...
Yes.
Right. Anyway. So, so I love the detail she pays him alimony, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, and that I don't know about the lactose intolerant thing, but that part is definitely brought up multiple times.
Oh, of course, you always have to do an alimony gag with any divorce.
Yep.
All right, so let's see. All right.
Yeah, go on.
I love that Charlene is dressed like Perry the Platypus.
I don't know if that's intentional, but
I mean, is she always going to be in like a teal outfit?
Yes.
I mean, that might be intentional.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it's never really.
I think it's a misdirect in which I think maybe the eye is supposed to think like, okay, they're going to be enemies. Where no, they're actually very civil to each other.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty cool thing with Doofenshmirtz and Charlene. It's like with Heinz and Charlene, it's like they kind of broke up. They kind of broke up amicably. Sorry, and they still have like a healthy relationship. They still talk to each other. They share custody of their daughter.
I gotta be honest, I really dig Charlene, man. I don't know what Doofenshmirtz did wrong there. I don't know why this marriage broke. I'm gonna guess it was the evil. Are we gonna learn why the marriage broke down the line?
Remember, she doesn't know he's evil.
Oh, why did the marriage break down, you think?
It's like, well, there actually is like a joke in a later episode that kind of hints as to why it happened.
Okay. But, looking forward to it.
But like I said, like it actually one of the things that people actually praise the show for regarding this and why they say Doofenshmirtz is so good because it actually depicts a healthy divorce.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. So,
I just think that's a pretty good thing. I mean, it's something a lot of kids go.
I agree. It's nice kind of it's a flipping of the script on divorce usually the way we present.
I mean, sure, they have some snide remarks to each other occasionally, but they're still amicable. They're still friendly. They don't hate each other.
Yeah, that's great. So, Jacob, we have comments.
Yep, sorry. He did make that cheese one time.
Aha! Writing hole.
Well, I mean, not all.
He made a lot of cheese, Jacob. That was a lot of cheese he made.
Are there cheese made without milk?
I know. Look, I know he made the cheese, and I'm telling you, man, that was like what was it, Limburger cheese?
Technically, there are such things as vegan cheese.
Get at it! Really, vegan cheese?
Yes, but I'm not saying that's this dragon, but
I'm
it's
saying, like he made like a giant wheel of Limburger cheese.
I mean, just because you're lactose intolerant, basically that just leads to a lot of gastrointestinal problems. Doesn't mean you straight up like. I mean, it's not like it's like an deathly allergy to cheese most of the time.
I guess you're right.
I mean, technically, all humans are technically humans. We see him milking a cow to create the cheese,
Aha!
and also Colin Thurker goes deeper in the show than Breaking Bad.
That ain't a soy cow, my friend.
Like I know.
Okay, no, in all seriousness, Jacob is absolutely right here. And that, like I said, it's basically gassy. It's really what it is. But you don't want to. I think too much will probably do serious damage. But you know,
technically, like all humans are in some way lactose intolerant. It's just like some obviously have it more severe than others.
Okay.
Little fun fact there.
I do love the color theory thing that LEB brought up.
Yep, deeper than Breaking Bad.
I love the color. Honestly, I love the color theory on Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, but more so Daredevil. They have brilliant color theory as well. But yeah,
lots of red.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay. Anyways, and then on the flip side, the boys they realized they built a space laser-inator, but they didn't put on the laser, so no harm done.
It's like they build it ready to make their ice cream, and then it blasts off into space.
Then we have this. I gotta tell you, man, this bit.
These are plans for a space laser-inator, apparently.
I thought this was so darn cute. So mom comes home and catches them as well. Saying, "We're trying to make a big sundae for Isabel." Like, oh, let me help you, boys. Like, I thought that was so darn cute. Mom's helping make ice cream for poor old Isabella.
Yep, and it is really nice. I mean, it's a nice way to cap things off, and she doesn't even get too mad at Candace either.
Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, that's nice.
All works out.
It's like, so of course they actually take the sundae to Isabella, who is actually really appreciative. Like, I thought you guys were gonna go crazy with it or something. Like, you know, like, or and LB says, soy cow yummy. All right, but it's like, so like Phineas like does go like, we were gonna do that, but we actually built a laser instead. Like, Ferb, what happened?
And we reveal like the big love thing he was kind of envisioning, all the hearts and everything flying around him, and it's just, I was weak.
Hearts, flowers, yep. The boys in love.
And the post credit, we have kind of a reprise of the busted song, but like there's a new cop on the beat, and they're like they're wearing little cop hats and little nightsticks. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So two very good. So two very good episodes.
Yeah, it was winning this week. Yeah.
It's very interesting to know we're now like almost halfway through the season. Like next episode will be halfway through the first season.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so it's been quite an interesting ride so far. It's like, so basically it's only going to get crazier.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Like, and also a bit more, and also in some ways a bit more mundane.
Even better.
I mean, like, I know you like gadgets and crazy like superhero action stuff, but you like really live for the mundanity of this show, don't you?
I do indeed.
Like in both like the boys just trying to have fun and Doofus versus petty inventions.
I love those petty inventions.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be loving some of the stuff he does later on. I'll tell you that. All right, any final closing thoughts, Dragon, or anything?
No, just really good week.
Yep, this is definitely a strong pair of episodes. All right, so that does it for this week. So join us next week on the Phineas and Ferb Recap-inator, where Candace learns to drive a monster truck, and Doofus first looks for monster truck investors. The boys search for treasure. Candace has moss trouble, and Doofusmerce prepares his new island lair. Good night, everybody.
Go, my facsimiles!
How'd you get out of the trash, you Bohemian?